So it's nice. You're gonna have a lot of questions, please feel free to ask them, but, you just heard 2016, we've been following this project for a very long time. And I'm very excited that it's moving along as quickly as it is right now. Now, out on 164, some of you may know, the town has finally, since 2019, we've been trying to get the infrastructure, sewer and water along the 164 corridor. The sewer project, as we started, it is going in. We expect that by the end of summer. Eric, I think we were just talking about this. That part of it should be done. The water portion of that project has gone out to bid. So we're going to be running the water lines soon and the water tower. So what does that mean? It means that we will be bringing, and I'm not going to say we hope to, I'm telling you right now, we will be bringing commercial development to the town of Elizabeth. In addition to that, all the way down to the end of 164, we have the Heritage River Village. They are also, we have a SID grant out, an application for SID money to be able to begin the infrastructure of their project. That's exciting. As soon as we see movement going in that strip, Heritage River is going to be one of the first. We're going to see growth in Griswold, and then I support this project 100%, more than 100%. Now is the time to stick together, support the project. We have the YMCA in phase one. We have retail, we have housing, we have senior housing, we have a memory care facility, and I can tell you this, because many of you, some of you may not know, I was a senior center director here in senior services for almost 18 years. There is AE for senior housing. I was also the point person for social services in the community, not just the seniors. We have a definite need for housing. So it's coming. Memory care facility, that's so important, it excites me. I cannot wait to see this happen. There are very few local, nearby memory care facilities. And as a volunteer for the Alzheimer's Association and working with our seniors, let me tell you, we need a memory care facility in our town. And with the YMCA, you're going to be looking at health and wellness, children, families, seniors. Wonderful thing for our community. So it is community growth. And I just want to say to all of you that I support this project.
So what I forgot to tell you, when I started the program was, who am I? Sorry about that. My name is Jeff Lutkovich, and I'm the other co-managing principal for Heritage Village. So I'm gonna just talk through, a little bit about the village, and, Tina had mentioned about the infrastructure project that, we have submitted an application for funding for. This graphic up here is showing you the water, sewer, and three-phase power that's gonna be coming down, 164. This area here and this area here, that opens up as a result of the infrastructure coming in. All of this acreage, which is already zoned commercial, becomes available. And, we understand that there has been, some interest expressed as a result of the commencement of the 164 infrastructure, not only regarding the acreage, but also people coming to us about commercial development opportunities. So like Tina said, it is becoming a reality after all of this time. And also, you know, when we started the project back in 2016, we did everything we could, but really nothing could happen on 164 until that infrastructure started coming in. So you voted and approved through the referendum, the 164 infrastructure. Now it's reality. Now it's in process, and things are coming. Things are beginning to ramp up. So the first project, as Tina said, the first project that is pretty much ready to go is the Heritage Village project. And it is focused on commercial development, as Tina had mentioned. There will be a variety, we'll talk more about that, a variety of different businesses that will be able to come in, the senior housing and the YMCA. But we're ready to go, and the planning that we've been undergoing all of these years has a series of goals that we always kept in mind as we were putting this together and as we were evolving the project, in large part through feedback from folks such as yourself, but also a series. I think we've done probably a half a dozen market studies over the years. The first one was back in 2016, 2017, and the latest one was completed just a few weeks ago. And we did market studies looking at commercial opportunities. We looked at senior housing opportunities, really market demand, general housing market demand, and we would update those. So we've done a series of studies over a period of time, as well as working extensively with the town and with residents to put a program together that we knew not only would work well for the town and residents, but also bring in additional investments in commercial development. And that was, you can see here, that was important to us, is not only to create a high quality, unique destination that everybody could be proud of, but also a project that stimulates investments and revenue. So with people, looking at the additional acreage opening up as a result of the 164 infrastructure, a lot of what we hear from businesses is that not only do they want a workforce located nearby, so they can hire or retain people. And it's not just the new businesses coming in, it's the businesses that are downtown, Jewett City, Griswold, that are always looking for people and trying to retain people. So it stimulates, continued investment. And so I did talk about local businesses, the ability to recruit and retain employees. And then also, very importantly for us, is to design, manage, and provide on-site services, on-site management, not absentee management, but on-site management, full-time, round the clock with respect to the senior living community that supports inclusive living. And when I talk about inclusive living, I'm really talking about people of all ages, abilities, but also economic backgrounds. You know, that includes people who have well-paid jobs, and people who have very important jobs that are paying in the mid to lower brackets. Very important jobs. My son wanted to be a firefighter, but starting salaries in some parts of Connecticut for full-time firefighters is $26 an hour. His wife, who is in healthcare, childcare, starting salaries or starting hourly rates for that is $17. So it's very difficult with those types of incomes and very important jobs to be affording market rate of $2,200–2,300 a month in rent, plus your utilities. So what we wanted to do was to create a community that helped with improving housing and financial security. So as Tina had mentioned, some of the units will be, the rents will be set that will allow people at different brackets to be able to afford their apartment and not pay any more than 30% of their monthly income, which really, when you're only paying 30% of your monthly income on your housing costs, which includes utilities, that means you have more money to spend, healthier food, to spend in local businesses. You have more income that you can use. And that's very important for your housing security as well as your financial security. And then finally, health and social connectivity with the YMCA, health services on site. That's a very important factor, is to create an environment where we can support healthy living. This is the project as approved in 2023. We've gone through various approvals because we've improved the project. So when any time that there's a change, we have to go back and go through the approval process. But this is the project in a nutshell. And it's heavily weighed on commercial space. We have the YMCA. 47,000, a little more than 47,000 square feet. The mixed use plaza buildings, which we'll talk about in a few moments, 32,000 square feet of commercial space. The senior living program, as approved, is roughly 210,000 square feet. Housing units, the number of housing units for older adults, as approved, 210 for independent, assisted, and memory supported. 50 adult living units. That's on the west side, that's phase 2. But these are single family attached units. And then for family, the second and third floors of the mixed use buildings, we only have 56 apartments there. And then in the back of the property on the west side, we have approvals for 160 apartments. So probably still, much smaller than what a lot of people have thought about in terms of the number of units. But this is what is currently approved. We have both local approvals as well as state approvals. This is an illustration of phase 1 infrastructure on the property. This is Preston Road 164, where the infrastructure is currently going in. Where you see in the red, within the red line, is our phase one infrastructure. So we'll be able to tap into the infrastructure on the road, bring it onto the property, and that will support both the plaza buildings, the YMCA, and the senior living community itself. So that's phase one of the infrastructure. So we'll bring water, sewer, three-phase power onto the site. And now I'd like to turn it over to Maureen of Oakland Community YMCA. She's going to talk about what the YMCA is going to be about.
Thank you, Jeff, and good evening. It's great to be here again. I have the pleasure of serving as the president and CEO of the Ocean Community Y, which has a branch in Mystic, Connecticut, the Westerly YMCA in Westerly, Rhode Island, and the Arcadia branch, which is located in Richmond, Rhode Island. We also have a camp on Watchung Pond that we serve over 325 children a day, 11 weeks of the summer. So we've been around. We began in Westerly, and then we expanded into Mystic, Connecticut, Richmond, Rhode Island. We look forward to coming here. It's a great community. We have also done some market studies, and this area can support a YMCA demographics. What the Y brings to the communities is wellness, health, opportunities for all. We do not deny anyone access to our building or our programs for their inability to pay. We have scholarship programs. We raise over $600,000 a year. We provide probably $700,000 in scholarship funds to all of our communities. We have over 3,600 people on a yearly basis that we give out scholarships to, so they can participate children in day camp, childcare, seniors, and older active adult activities, pickleball is a big craze, or just be a member of the Y. So it's connecting people, and it's making the community healthier, which is great. We also, some other benefits of the YMCA, we employ at the Westerly branch 350 part-time employees, 13 full-time. In Mystic, it's a little bit less, maybe about 150 part-time employees and 10 full-time. So there's opportunities for workforce opportunities, and they're really local. A lot of them may be high school, all the way up to a lot of seniors. We open the branches at 5 a.m. At 4:30, we have retired people that are working the branches and love the early morning group that comes in. So we are excited to come here. If all comes to fruition, want to walk you through the plan. We will have a child care center, which will be 6 months infants to right before they go into kindergarten. They'll be divided into rooms similar that I'm sure you're all aware of, with licensed child care director and staff, criminal background check, all the above. The actual building will have a gymnasium, which you're all familiar with. I think that everybody knows it's basketball, but the big craze now, we've done this in Westerly and Mystic, we have pickleball courts on the gym floors, which is really cool. There'll be multi-purpose rooms. There'll be an intergenerational room where teens can work with the older active adults, youth. We interchange rooms a lot, which I'm sure you can hear at the senior center. You're very familiar with that. There will be a child watch, which if you remember, you have grandchildren, you have children, you can come in, you can work out, you can go to a class, you can bring them into the child watch room. They'll be supervised by staff. It's all free of service, and with a membership, you can stay for 2 hours, and it works out wonderful. Then there's a kids adventure room. So usually the child watch is from 6 months until probably 7. And then teen centers, really, we don't have the children going in there until the teens. So we've got that 7 to like 10 years. So we're going to do a teen adventure. So that's with different obstacle courses. We have a lot of examples of that. throughout the YMCA. Then we have, studios for wellness, yoga, Pilates. We do, Live Strong, which is a program for cancer survivors, people that are battling cancer, youth, teens, adults. It's all free. We do it as a community benefit. We have pedaling for Parkinson's, again, free, to the community. They're all going on in our lives now. Matter of balance, for older active adults to work on their balance. These are the types of things that we do for the community. Then we will have a large wellness studio room, about 7,000 square feet. And that has the cardio equipment, that has the strength training equipment, it has the free weights, all of the above, which is really one of the central focuses of the Y. We have locker rooms. Last but not least, which everybody asks about, is the natatorium with blue, put that in blue, or the water. So we hope that that's part of the plan, because we hear from everybody, always, we want a pool, we want a pool. It is one of the most expensive things to build and maintain, so we always have to keep that in mind. But we've been in conversations with local high schools, hopefully elementary schools, that we could teach children to swim, high school swim teams could use it, all the above, be a tremendous asset. So that's all I have to say.
Brian's going to talk a little bit about the collaboration opportunity between the youth program and the YMCA.
Thank you. Hello, so I've heard the word pickleball a lot this week, so I've heard that's one of the most popular things you can think of in the area. So hi, I'm Ryan, I'm from Youth and Family Services at Park and Rec. Our missions are kind of aligned here, with YMCA's and what we do, we have the same values, we're trying to help the same type of, families. Everybody have access to health and wellness, right? So from a standpoint as a Park and Rec department, reaching out to other Park and Rec departments that have YMCA's within their towns, I found the feedback is it kind of made the towns use their money more efficiently because they filled in the gaps that the YMCA's didn't, like the services they don't have. And the same thing, vice versa. But YMCA's have gaps that now the town can fill. So there's a benefit of working together and thinking long-term programming. We're trying to have more team programming. So imagine an at-risk kid, and what I mean by that is one that lives maybe in the borough or could go outside and get in a lot of trouble because there's no supervision. Imagine bringing them to a YMCA, get them a proper training coach, getting them a lifestyle wellness or working out, or getting basically addicted to something helpful, going to the gym, feeling good about themselves. There's just a lot of mutual benefits of working together, and I kind of look forward to this, and I appreciate the opportunities you give me to talk here tonight, and looking forward to working with you personally in the future. Thank you.
So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about one of the commercial buildings in the front of the property. This is the plaza, and as a chairman from Glendower, we will be behind.
I will be fine too. You promised me there would be a podium. I got 15 pages of notes. I'm just gonna take a few minutes. Step back and cover the house really well, the housing component. So what's the plaza, right? It's the first phase close to 164. It's, we're still kind of figuring out if it's gonna be one building, two, but in any event, it's gonna be 56, 3 stories. 56 units of housing on the second and third floor, comprised of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. The first floor is gonna be all commercial, with the exception we'll have offices in there, some social space, a little gym, not being with the one. Exercise, gym. So it's gonna be mixed income, which means there would be some affordable units and some market rate. I keep doing, I'm talking with my hands, it's really hard to explain. So some income restricted and some market rate units. We don't really have a full capital plan of how we're gonna fund it yet. A lot of it depends on if we're successful with the CIF grant, kind of what path we're gonna go down. Because we're gonna have to get a lot of other funding sources to make this work, because it's kind of housing. unless you build pure market rate housing and max out your rents, it's really hard to fund just with straight bank loans. So we'll have a mix of tax credits, bank loans, and some other different funding sources that we're kind of used to going after. And just want to note, there's no difference between the affordable and the market rate units. We do everything the exact same. They'll be really nice units. You know, we do solid surface counters, the bathrooms, kitchens will be tiled. We designed a nice unit. It's not like the old days from 30 or 40, or even 20 years ago, where kind of affordable housing, connotated, cheap units. That's not how we approach it anymore. You guys want to come to the day, I can give you some nice tours. We really put some beautiful units in. You just flip. I'll give you a personal tour. I think we skipped over one. What type of residence is this? There we go. Just to kind of reiterate, as I said, no difference between affordable and market. The development plan, at some point we can share the floor plan as we kind of work it more out and get more detail to it. But it's what we call inclusive living, which really is just a nice word for building a really nice environment, a housing for choice that people want to live. So there'll be an exercise room, there'll be social space where residents can get together and socialize. All these things that are important to keeping a healthy environment, especially, you know, these are 1, 2, and 3, so you're gonna see a range from some smaller families to elderly as well. But, you know, it's usually who likes to live in the one bedrooms. Some of the components of universal design, we'll probably have some social services. We usually try to build that in. We'll work with a local social service provider in town. There's always some residents that could use an extra helping hand sometimes with life's issues. So, you know, that's something we try to incorporate into all of our developments. It makes for a stable environment, which makes it for healthier to manage and easier to manage. So even though we don't know what we're doing yet exactly with affordable housing, we know we're probably going to go after some local housing tax credits. You may or may not have heard that. It's the major kind of affordable funding source. So we'll have somewhere between 40 and 80% affordable. I mean, a light tech, we still don't know yet, but we'll, as we keep having these meetings, we'll provide more info with this forum. Like I said, a big part is waiting on the CIF to see kind of what direction that takes us. But the general plan is going to remain the same. And that, like what I'm describing, we don't really know yet, we're gonna figure it out. That's very normal for what we do. We've done 20 developments in New Haven. It's very, very normal. I think the next one out, you're already there. So what's the benefits for the town? So I'm an affordable housing guy. You know, that's always my first love. That's why I do this. What we're actually doing is affordable land next to the development. We do that everywhere as well. Every housing development is much healthier and long-term in terms of residents' well-being and everything else that goes with it if you have mixed income. Pure 100% affordable doesn't work anymore. We don't do it because it just doesn't create a good of the development. And job creation is always important. We know there'll be 4 or 5 permanent jobs there. That's not really much, right? But there'll be an echo effect. There always is an echo effect in the new development and the other kind of indirect job creation. We know that the construction is going to create a number of jobs. It's a pretty decent sized development, 56 units in a floor commercial. So what we do is we always do local job fairs, we do local contractor fairs. Whoever the construction manager is going to end up being in charge of development will require that they get a certain percent locally. We really want the jobs and the opportunities to go to local contractors. And, you know, we control, we always do one job. The last thing I know is always concerned about taxes. So just to be clear, right, the first floor is commercial, that's fully taxable. We can just pay standard taxes. The market rate units, we pay standard taxes. We may want some discussions with the community, the first selectman and board of selectmen about the affordable units. We just kind of started that about maybe some reduction, but we're not even there yet, so I didn't want to talk about it. But, you know, the majority of the building is just going to pay full standard rate taxes. And that's actually how we structure our developments in Haiti as well. Market rate units always pay market rate taxes. I really gonna have to.
So when we talk about, and Ed mentioned, there is going to be a mixture because we want to create an inclusive living environment. So obviously there will be plenty of trade, there'll be plenty of workforce, but when we talk about the use of the word affordable, what are we talking about when we use that term? So the way that it's calculated is as follows. In this geographic area, the area median income, right in the middle, between the top and the lowest, the area median income is 107,000. And when we talk about affordability, we're talking about people who have jobs that are earning somewhere between 50 and 60% of that area median income. And that could be based on, it is based on the number of people in the household. You could have a couple with a child, you could have a single parent with 1 or 2 kids, but that's what you're looking at, 50 to 60% income of that median income, area median income. That's what we're talking about as far as affordability. You're working, you have a job, it's consistent, and you can prove it. You can prove it every year. So it's folks that have very important jobs that are earning within these brackets that need this type of housing. But like I said, it will be mixed with plenty of market rate, plenty of workforce, and in these affordable, where we're giving people a fighting chance to have housing and financial security. With regards to the senior living program, we touched upon that a little bit earlier. So the Heritage Point, this big building here, which is in the center of the property, we have approvals for 210 units of independent assisted living, assisted living, and memory support. Memory support is very much like assisted living, but much more intensive when it comes to staffing. And the way that these properties are managed is you are preventing serious problems from happening. So you are relying less on emergency services because you are managing your programs and you're maintaining health among the resident population as best as you can. You do have them. There are calls because we are talking about an older population. The average age of residents in a senior living community such as this is mid-80s. So you do have situations that arise, but that's typical. But we also, the other housing that we will be offering on the property will be general occupancy, which means that people 62 and older are just as welcome to live there as younger families, individuals. So we have approvals for 210 units. A lot of what drives the actual size of a community like this really is market conditions. The same with housing, general housing, commercial. It has everything to do with market conditions. So the demand, the cost to build, the cost of funding projects, it all changes. It's a moving target. So you plan as best as you can, and you end up with a certain number based on market conditions. Those numbers that I showed you in the previous slide, that's the max. It will never be any bigger than that. The other thing that we had talked about was the 50 adult living. This is basically a community for adults. You can think of it as a retirement community. It's a community of people who are older, and every unit of those 50 units will be fully accessible. So regardless of what happens over time and your physical abilities, these will be places that will evolve as you evolve. As you get older, they accommodate your changing abilities. We don't have a slide for that, but that is part of the plan. So that's an overview of the process. I know that some of you have questions. Tina is here that will be able to field. We will all be able to field your questions. So why don't we turn it over to the Q&A? Anybody have any questions? Sure.
Well, let's say this whole place back in 16. That would have been at this point. It's a shame that we went so long in this community without something like this. This is extremely, this will dramatically change the area, and the reputation for the town, in a very positive light. When we have what I want to call a trailer needed on premise there, how far down the road is it going to be where we have a place somebody driving from here to casino from New Hampshire and drives by, gets a flavor for what might be going on and says, I'm going to turn in and see what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
It's a very good question. So our planning for the plaza buildings, our plan is to begin applying for financing in January. So we have to wait for word on the CIF grant. We'll be able to start infrastructure work right away. We have to complete the plans for the plaza building. And as Ed mentioned, most likely in the next group session that we have together, we'll be able to show you the floor plans of these various living units to get your thoughts and your feedback. So there'll be a lot of different floor plans that we'll be sharing with you. So we'll be applying for financing for the plaza building, and we're going to be starting right away on arranging the financing for the Child Development Center, which is part of the Y. That was the section on the left when we had the floor plans up. And concurrent with that, we will be working on the capital raise for the main complex.
No.
The aquatics program is a different animal altogether. Like Maureen said, it is more costly to build and to maintain. But we will be, and that part requires generating commitments from not only locally, but also the towns throughout. And we've gotten interest, various towns around that really would like to see an aquatics program. And this is a regulation side aquatics program. There's two sizes of competition swimming pools. One is the long course and another one is the short course. The long course, I think, is the size of another swimming pool.
15 meters is a little bit, 25 yards, 6 lanes would be what we would probably start.
Right. So it's referred to as a short course. It's still competition size, and it's still something that the schools would love to have. And that's the other thing about the YMCA and about the community itself, is when we're talking about collaboration with the school, we're gonna have something like 1,200 linear feet of river frontage with trail systems going down there. And we provided the town with an easement to be able to build a future river walk, not only using our property, but going all the way into town. And I'm not sure how far past our property, but this creates a lot of opportunities to collaborate with the town for educational programming along the river, as well as the summer camps, and just there's so many opportunities for that. So the mixed use building will be applying for financing in January. We're going to get going on financing for the YMCA, and we're going to be working to move the senior living community along as well. So we saw an uptick in interest as a result of activity starting on 164. We're definitely going to be seeing an uptick in activity once the work of the infrastructure on site begins as well.
When your market research took you from the point of 16 and adjusted accordingly to this point, what do you think? When you're all said and done and everything's up and running, is it 10 years? 5? Or is it kind of goes as you are able to attract?
Yeah, so your question is how long is all this been?
Yeah, there was a flavor for your party.
Well, the first thing that we've already started the marketing on the commercial side. So we've already been talking to potential businesses, healthcare, entertainment, restaurant, pharmacy. We've already been talking with companies for the commercial space. We haven't let that slide at all. As far as the housing is concerned, and as far as the senior housing is concerned, the market studies are showing incredible demand for that, especially the housing. So once this is up and running, we're not even gonna make a dent on meeting the demand for housing, senior housing and general housing. We're not even gonna make a dent. The pent-up demand is that significant. We want to move this as quickly as, we want to get this whole thing done as soon as possible. What's driving this is market conditions. And also the cost of capital, cost to build. Those are hurdles that we have been working on since we started this project. And things have changed, you know, the capital markets, you know, getting money to build has become a lot more expensive. To build has become a lot more expensive. So we have to work through all of that in order to make this happen. But we are committed to getting this completed as soon as we possibly can. We have not let up since we started this back in 2016.
So, I'm getting the feeling of mixed message. Keep saying that we have to apply for financing, you haven't gotten the grants yet. Are you sure you're going to get them?
Funding in general, or?
Yes.
Yeah, we are sure.
Okay,
Yeah, we are sure. It just, these things take time.
so you were just saying the market changed and everything's more
And it
expensive.
does, and then what happened, exactly, the market conditions change,
So what makes you sure you're gonna get the funding?
because we have to adapt. We have to be flexible in our approach to not only arranging the capital for each of these different projects, but how we design and modify those designs to make it buildable and financially feasible, and sustainable.
Like, it's what I'm asking, is you pre-approved already for a certain amount of financing since we're sitting here, or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, for some funding that will allow us to, keep the process going. So, yeah.
Can you explain what the process going means? I mean, this has been going on for 8 years. So the question is, is you guys even have any money?
You know what's held us, you know what has held us up?
No.
There's no
I'm
infrastructure, there's no infrastructure.
Okay, so
So
now,
we started in 2016, and only now we've got the infrastructure started. So nothing can happen on 164, but now things are starting. So, you know, the town has worked very hard. Everybody here has worked very hard to approve the project. That has taken time. So, when you talk about this has taken a long time, it has. It has, but, you know, now that we got infrastructure going,
so if the infrastructure is going in, and it was going in 2019, why wasn't there any, you know, why?
there was no infrastructure.
I understand that, but you knew it was going in, right?
People want to see it actually there, and Tina would like to respond.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to say, but remember, we went to referendum in 2019.
Yeah.
Everybody sat until this year. Now, and you saw, Susan Lightfoot was here to really promote. And there was a lot of excitement about what we were doing in 164. And until you get that type of momentum, I mean, that momentum certainly is helping this project. One is helping the other. That's why I'm saying you kind of have to work together. I mean, I can see when we've sat idle for a long time, simply because it's like, okay, fine, we're doing this. Well, since most of the infrastructure going in for our project, well, now Sid may will be able to lay on their project because they're starting to see things come together, literally, you know? So, and I said to Eric, as soon as people start seeing the dirt moving, shovels going in the ground, you're gonna see some activity. And I'm telling you right now, can't say anything more, but there is activity coming.
You and I had.
Yes, there is activity coming.
Will all those units be breakable, or will some of them be available for?
that's a really good question. So the question is, are they all gonna be rentals, or will there be some ownership opportunities? We've been thinking a lot about that, and we have no problem reducing, and we have to go back to the town, back to the commission to go through this. But what we're contemplating and what we are, what we feel comfortable doing is reducing the rentables and creating homeownership opportunities. So so this evolved. So when we're talking about, geez, this is taking a long time, we've been using that to the project's advantage by continuing to talk and look at ways of making this project better. And if one of the ways of doing that is to create home ownership and make those homes accessible to accommodate people of different ages, we're all for that. And the grant, the CIF grant that has provided the funds for 164, this is a small town with, not a lot of resources, not a lot of manpower. We wrote the grant and submitted the grant that ultimately ended up with Griswold getting 8.7 million. We wrote the grant and we spent the money to do that. So we're partnership. This is a partnership between us and the community. We've been around all these years because we want to be part of the community. We want to be good neighbors. And we have no problem looking at our designs and saying, is there some way that we can make this better? And having this type of dialogue and other people coming to us with the same questions. There's no homes that we can buy. There's no homes that are accessible. As we get older, there's no homes for us. But we want to be able to make that available. And if it means reducing the rentables and providing some home ownership, which would result in a net reduction, by the way, of the number of users. We're all for it.
So last time you were here, you guys had to come together a little bit more than last time. The last time you were here, we talked about the YMCA, and we really were emphasizing that we were only getting a childcare facility. Today when you spoke, it sounded like we're getting the full project without necessarily the pool. Is that true based on this conversation, or are we
I
back?
don't think that was the message the first time. Our intent is to have a full YMCA. The Child Development Center, each of these components requires different types of funding sources. The Child Development Center, we can get that up quicker than the main complex, but that doesn't mean that we're going to fundraise for the Child Development Center, wait, and then do the fundraising for the main complex. We're gonna be doing both concurrently, but the Child Development Center is smaller, it's not as costly. And the idea is that if we can build that first and continue with the rest of it, that's what we're gonna do. Any other questions?
Yeah.
So what you presented, is that just phase one or is that the entire project?
That slide, that's the entire, that's the entire.
That's, okay, so are there phases or
Sorry?
are there still 3 phases?
No, it's basically 2 phases. You've got the infrastructure and the buildings up front, and then you've got infrastructure and the buildings in the back.
Okay, so no other buildings are planned or anything at this point?
No. No, just what you saw up there.
Okay.
Question?
How many acres is this place gonna take? How many
The acres, the acreage is just under 61 acres. The entire property, but most of it remains untouched. Yeah, most of it. Conservation is very, very important to us. So a lot of that area is untouched.
Yeah.
But we will create, yeah.
Let's bring out the overall thing.
This is the overall site plan. $164. The YMCA complex, the childcare, the main complex, and the aquatic center. Plaza A, Plaza B. The, senior living community. This is the 160 units that I talked about before that I showed you. And the 50 adult only, single family attached. Now, when we were talking about the potential for, ownership, again, we still have to go back to the top, go through the process again. Our thinking is that we remove this building, each of these are 40 units, 4 stories, 40 units. We eliminate this and we create 18 single-family accessible homes for sale. So we're reducing the number of units and creating more diversity as far as living opportunities. And if there's an opportunity, if we get a company that comes to us and says, we want to locate here, but we need a lot of space for our business, that will be a benefit to the town and residents, then we will think about that. If there's a net benefit, both from service, opportunity, tax revenue, then we're all. We want to generate tax revenues, and every pad site is a revenue generating opportunity for the town. Any other questions? Yeah.
Earlier, somebody said, on the east side of 164, there was the potential for commercial property. Early on in this presentation, maybe, but right now, everything that you've discussed is on the west side. Is that correct?
Yeah, so here's Heritage River Village here.
Right.
And then this, all this activity, all the infrastructure opens up this acreage and it opens up this acreage.
How much is on the east side?
So this is the east side and this is the west side.
I understand, but how much acreage is there on the east side? I mean, what do you envision that would be the complement?
Sorry? About 150 acres. Potentially.
Why show it?
Yeah, it's not our property, we're just showing what gets opened up, what gets unlocked as a result of the infrastructure that the town has worked very hard to get.
Where have you completed a project of this scope?
This is new. We have
Completed a project that's half this scope.
well, I think between the two of us, we've done quite a bit of development, but when you're talking about best use of a 61, almost a 61 acre property, we've combined different uses,
Okay.
right? And we have partners, and there will be partners that will be taking on components of this.
Okay.
With
The partners that have established.
Sorry,
Those partners have been established?
some of them have been.
Okay, you earlier said that, there's, exact words, but something about in this general area of the state, there's a need for this.
Yeah.
Does the need match up with the pace that you can go at? I mean, what if somebody could find this, someplace else on the road, and they can move a little quicker, they have a little bit more flexibility in some of the things. I'd like to think that this thing could be done tomorrow. But realistically, I get the sense that, you must have quite a stack to process this project. Because it's not on the town, it's not the town monitoring what you're doing, that's not even monitoring, but they're not necessarily managing.
No, and we're collaborating extensively and very closely. So whatever it is that we're doing, or thinking about doing, we work with the town on that. But when you're talking about what happens if there's another development,
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
Yeah, it's such a fantastic, in other words, if it's such a fantastic idea in Bristol.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be such a fantastic idea in Norwich or in Putnam or?
well, there are developments. There are housing developments going on in Norwich and London. But it's not, well, it's actually, well, I wouldn't say it's a race. I would say that it's an attempt to catch up to the demand. And the demand far outpaces the amount of building that is going on. It's not keeping up with demand. So, and as far as this project is concerned, this is the only project that is fully approved. So a project has to go through the approval process in order to be able to build. Our project is fully. Yeah. Another question before we wrap up?
Work for you. But with the 160 units, and obviously there'll be kids involved, kids will be living there, so it has an impact on the schools. And then in addition to that, the memory care, facilities, so there'll be an impact, and the very large impact on the emergency services. So what are the plans for the schools and the emergency services?
Okay, I think there's a study done on how many children per unit.
Yeah.
And I think that you were talking about.
The
that.
average, exactly, the average number of children per two-bedroom unit is 0.52.
When was the study done? Because the last time the superintendent saw you was years and years ago, I'm sure for the Board of Education.
Yep,
And I've asked him, he says, I have not seen them in years.
we have
Sorry, that's not completely true. I bet that Sean McCann at least a half a dozen times over the last 3 years.
I'll double check with him on that,
Yes, please.
because this is an impact on the school, and we do it.
Yeah, we're calculating based on the number of two bedrooms and some three bedrooms in this development. We calculated, I think it was about 52 kids at various ages. When you look at the number of apartments in two bedrooms or more.
Okay, so 52.
Yeah, of various ages.
And emergency services.
Emergency services, and Eric and I talked about this today, and we, discussed, I think, Eric, that with the tax revenue that's coming in, he is confident that we will be able to support any extra emergency services that will be.
So have you talked to Americans and started help them?
No, that's kind of moving parts.
Just one.
We're waiting on the infrastructure, and then we're gonna know exactly what we're dealing with. And so, to look so far ahead, yes, you do have to talk about it, but we can't make assumptions.
No, but I'm just.
And American Indians really would be the very first people that we're talking. Yeah.
Martin, I have a question.
Yeah, Martin McKinney, I just want to let you know that you found Greg and myself, we've been working with you since 2015. Okay, you've been straightforward, you've been honest. We understand that you don't have everything in place for funding, but I do want to thank you for keeping the ball rolling. I think when you look at the numbers, when it opens up, getting the infrastructure down 164, okay, opens up for any tax ramifications we may have, for school entry we may have, with the potential future development along that corridor with warehousing and other entities. I think it'll be a great balance, and I just want to thank you for sticking through since 2000.
Thank you very much, Martin. We really appreciate that. And you've been a very good supporter, Rich as well, and especially Tom and Eric and Tina. This has been it's been a long road. And what we want to do is we want to create a village that will attract development on these large tracts of land. So it will be used as an incentive for companies to come in, which will be generating that ever important tax revenue. So thank you, everybody. Some questions. I'm sorry, yes.
I just got, the project is great. The only concern, and it's to be, more selective, are you looking for any tax abatement?
There is an incentive, right.
I just wondered about
Well,
that.
the tax credits are something different. That allows us to develop housing in which we can cap the rents to allow some people to live there. But when we're talking about incentives, obviously one of the attractions for us and for any business coming in is not only the commitment of the town leadership, but also the incentives that that are built into it, because I've said before, the cost of building, the cost of money, it puts a big drain. It's a challenge, so anything helps, but we're looking long-term, So, yeah.
If you didn't answer the question.
So,
Are you looking for taxes?
I'm sorry?
Are you looking for a tax?
We will be applying for the program that exists. Yes, there's a program that exists and we will be applying for that. Yeah. Back there?
So you did know, and I know that some of this means that you have to go back to the town for changes, but if you saw a need for more, I would have proposed, like, I love the project of 2016 when I was.
You're on the
like,
planning commission,
I
aren't you?
am.
Yeah, and thank you for the
I
support to
love-
approve it. Yeah,
I love the elderly and the assisted living and all of that. I
Yep.
don't love the low income proponent of this. So, my question was, if you noticed that there was more need for an elderly, would you add to that number? Because I believe that would cause a cycle to happen in our town. So the elderly that are in houses would then move to this facility, which would open up houses for people to buy, which we need in town, and then we could create this kind of cycle. I like the idea of the home ownership added onto it. I really don't like to hear 80% is low income. So as we're having this conversation of
Yeah.
discussion, I think that's something that maybe we want to go back to the drawing board with.
and we don't, exactly, and it's a very good point, and we're not sure what that income and unit mix will be. But don't forget, even the rentals will be designed to accommodate older individuals. So, when we're talking about how, and those individuals could also be on fixed incomes. And they need housing that is designed to accommodate those fixed incomes.
I think with the elderly, like housing in the building where they're safe, because they're amongst other elderly, so it kind of forms that safe community. That's why I was wondering if you would be increasing, if you would be willing to increase from 210 up. I understand that the low income may affect that number, but I'd rather see low income with an age restriction on it versus a non-age restriction.
Yep. And again, when we talk about that, and we don't really use the term low income, when we're talking about affordability, when we're talking about affordability, we're talking about people who are really not earning less than 50% of their median income. So if I have a job that I'm earning 55,000 and I need a place to live in which I have an opportunity where a third of my income is going to go to housing, which will include utilities, and I have the rest to either pay down debt, put into retirement, buy better food, spend money at the businesses in town. That gives me that flexibility, and that gives me a sense of security.
I guess for me, it's just looking at the demographic, like I would like to see us be able to keep the young professionals from ED, from Millstone, from Hartford Healthcare, and get them here. We have a gym with the YMCA and they want to be here, and then they want to buy a house and start a family in our town, and those people sell their house and they just sell their housing, and it creates these nice circles.
That's our vision too.
That's what I want to see.
That's our vision too.
And I'm nervous, so I was trying to say grant funding, because I know what the grants are out there, and they're not for that, like, that we want to see anything in our town.
The kind of funding that we're going for, that we're working towards, and Ed wants to speak up, okay, can we clarify?
Well, yeah, just to clarify, 50% everybody thinks is really low income, right? So for this area, a single person is 40,000, a family of four is 57,000.
Yeah. But that vision that you just articulated is this, we share that vision. We share the vision. But it-
looking for
Yeah.
8% grant funding, federal funding.
Well, the kind of funding that we're talking about makes that vision possible. It makes the vision possible. So thank you, everyone, very much. We will, Rich?
I have a question.
Sure.
Peter, I don't see the maintenance facility out. Once this is built out.
So there will be a property management operation, full-time on-site for the entire property. And each of these pad sites will have those functions within those buildings. So we've designed it in the senior living, it's designed in the mixed use as well. So each one will have.
A lot of times in our experience, right? Our property manager for the city, we're talking about we'll contract with a local, smaller contractor, local, landscaper. Don't take the staff those positions. So we'll look like some, doing stuff. That's so.
Yeah, and that brings up a very good point. This is creating a lot of opportunity for local businesses. The landscaping company, Tom, the economic summit at that farm. Yeah, so, you know, we have lots of opportunities in which we're gonna be able to bring business to local businesses. And I think that in of itself is going to be pretty impactful. Just one more.
So you just had a question popping in my head when you mentioned, what company is gonna be managing and operating the senior living facility?
Heritage River Village Development.
Yeah, wrong.
Absolutely, we're
Okay.
sticking around.
Okay.
Yeah,
When,
you'll see a lot more of me.
when will you know about the SIP grant? What's the timeline for that?
The end of August, beginning of September. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed, because, you know, as much as there's so much unknown about this and that it has taken a long time, just know that we've been committed. We've stuck through this. We wrote the grant that got the infrastructure on 164. We have a wonderful working relationship with town leadership. And we want to create something that everybody here in the town will feel proud of. And that people will want to come and spend money in Griswold because of this village. Thank you very much.
Thank you.